we may have the higher moral ground, but the ground is shifting from underneath us. And I think we have to wake up to that reality. And
the dastardly Republicans are up to no good once again. And since their horrifically unpopular bill was forced through Congress and signed into law on July 4th, well, now the writing is on the wall. Midterms are on the horizon, and the blue wave that they see coming for them is scaring the crap out of the GOP. And now they're playing a very dirty game.
So are you calling in for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats. But we have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats also.
This set Democrats off across the nation. Gavin Newsom in California, however, was sure to let folks know about this very simple fun fact. There are currently 9 Republicans in the California congressional delegation. Just thought folks might like to know that fun fact. Harvey Kronberg's quorum report out of Texas, which has the most old-school graphic design I think I've seen on the internet, reported that state Democrats were meeting with national party leadership like Hakeem Jeffries to discuss what the state legislators could do to stop the Republicans from indulging in their favorite pastime, voter suppression. Texas House Democrats encouraged to deny quorum during special by top members of the National Party, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Quorum Report has learned that Jeffries, former AG Eric Holder, and DNC Chair Martin were listed as speakers to the caucus this week, encouraging state lawmakers not to help the GOP redraw congressional districts in Trump's bid to avoid another impeachment. Texas House Democrats are coming under increased pressure from national leaders in their party to prevent Republican leadership from redrawing congressional districts. The urgency was underscored by a meeting of the Democratic caucus in which U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and others were slated to speak to legislators about what's at stake and to strategize about the situation. Apparently, strategizing between state and national party leaders is somehow a bridge too far for Republicans, because this set off Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas, who vowed that any state lawmaker that dares to stop the Republican cheating is going straight to jail. He tweeted, "If Democrats ignore their duty to their constituents by breaking quorum, they should be found and arrested no matter where they go. The people of Texas elected them to do a job, not run away and hide like cowards. Lawmakers must answer the special session call and pass the important priorities that the governor has put forward." Yeah, very important, I'm sure. "My office stands ready to assist local, state, and federal authorities in hunting down and compelling the attendance of anyone who abandons their office and their constituents for cheap political theater." Now, mind you, Texas Democrats did try to do this already once before, back in 2021. Here's from the article. They could also encourage state Democratic lawmakers to flee the state to deprive the legislator of a quorum needed to approve the maps. The same maneuver Texas Democrats used in an unsuccessful attempt to thwart a 2021 GOP voting bill. Amid those long odds, some Democrats allude to another option, hoping Republicans spread their voters too thin and give Democrats a chance to win under a favorable national climate. Texas Republicans are likely going to continue to act like political punks and bend the knee to Donald Trump's extreme agenda, Hakeem Jeffries said on Tuesday. In doing so, they will jeopardize their own electoral careers. What they're talking about here is possibly what's called dummy-mandering, where in an attempt to redraw the districts in a way that's favorable to the Republicans, what they end up doing is actually spreading out their constituents so much that the Democrats have an easier time to win back some of those seats. Gavin Newsom's plan of counter-gerrymandering in California opens up the playbook even further for the Democrats, and he swooped in here to have a slam dunk on Paxton. Nothing screams democracy quite like threatening to arrest elected officials. Keep it up, Ken. Really showing the American people your true colors. Ken Paxton comes back with his weak response. Can you believe it? The governor who celebrated with celebrities while imposing lockdowns on everyday citizens is now puzzled about politicians being held accountable. It's so funny that these guys are still complaining about the 2020 lockdowns as if that was some sort of huge government overreach, but they're not talking about the very real government overreach that Trump is doing right now. In California, it seems lawlessness only gets addressed when President Trump steps in to save the day. That's what they call it. It's Trump saving the day. But here in Texas, we protect our citizens and uphold the law. You should try it sometime, Gavin. Well, Gavin Newsom just absolutely ends him with this one. Dude, you're so corrupt, you were put on trial for impeachment, were under indictment, faced a federal investigation for bribery, were forced to do community service, and had to pay restitution. Would sit this one out, bud. And he didn't even mention that his wife is divorcing him for biblical reasons, also known as an affair. But Gavin didn't stop there. Last night, he was on with Pod Save America and addressed the likelihood of California counter-gerrymandering Texas and stealing back even more seats than Texas will be able to.
I think there should be a national framework for independent redistricting, period, full stop. I mean, gerrymandering, and let's be fair, we've seen this weaponized by both parties for decades. But these guys, this is a whole nother level of weaponization coming from the right. And what Trump did today is the ultimate tell. They feel they're on the ropes. They feel they're behind. They feel they're vulnerable with the big, beautiful bill. They feel like the momentum is shifting away from them, and it's Speaker Jeffries. It's not Speaker Johnson. So on that basis, they got to rig the game. You got to change the game because you can't win by the existing rules. So he goes in and talks to these guys that should be focused on flood preparedness, should be focused on restoring NOAA and the weather investments that they need to make and the resiliency efforts, to talk about getting FEMA back on track and how little accountability with Kristi Noem and some of those early decisions that were made or not made. Instead, they're using that special session to weaponize for the next election. And that should scare the hell out of everybody, because these guys are playing by a different set of rules. And so from my perspective, if we're going to play fair in a world that is wholly unfair, we may have the higher moral ground, but the ground is shifting from underneath us. And I think we have to wake up to that reality. And I'm talking to members of my legislature, whatever our alternatives. We can do a special session. I can call for one today if I chose to. We can then put something on the ballot, and I could call a special election. We can change the Constitution with the consent of the voters, and I think we would win that. I think people understand what's at stake in California. I think we'd come out in record numbers. I think it would be extraordinary success. That's a clean way of doing it. It'd be a very short window, because you got to come back with the maps, and you got to change all this and prepare for the ballots that are around the corner next year. Or you can look at other avenues, which we are exploring, which are pathways with the legislature to do urgency clauses with 2/3 of the legislature in both of our houses, to move forward with legislative redistricting in between the constitutional construct, which is every census, the Independent Redistricting Commission does a new map, but it's silent about what happens in between. So it's a novel legal question, and it's being explored.
Now, I agree that fighting fire with fire is likely going to be the right move here. There isn't much recourse for the Democrats in Texas, although they can slow the process and sound the alarm to their constituents. But it would be idiotic to watch the Republicans steal 5 seats in Texas without countering somehow. It'd be unfortunate because both states would become more polarized, with Texas becoming redder and California much bluer. But until we get rid of gerrymandering entirely, we cannot keep fighting Republican fire with hot air, because we just end up feeding the flames with that kind of oxygen. But if you want to hear the kind of stuff that MAGA doesn't want you to know, well, then you know where to find it, right here at Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.